We've spent the last month playing 6 absolutely brutal 2-player games, and honestly, it's a miracle we're still speaking to each other.
It was a close call a few times. We're not talking about nice, cozy Sunday afternoon games here. We're talking about the games you pull out when your relationship is rock solid and you want to test exactly how much emotional damage it can withstand.
We've ranked them from number 6 down to number 1, least to most likely to cause a breakup. These are all strictly 2-player games, or games that shine best at 2, that we've personally played back-to-back to see just how mean they really are.
We're going to break down exactly how you win, the specific mechanics that make them savage, and the moments where we almost flipped the table. Let's start with the one that tricked us into thinking it was a peaceful farming game.
Number 6, Beer and Bread.
Beer and Bread is a resource management game where we play 2 rival villages. The game takes place over 6 years, which are just 6 rounds. In fruitful years, we draft cards, meaning I pick one, play it, and pass my hand to you. In dry years, we keep our hands but have fewer resources to work with.
The goal sounds simple: produce beer and bake bread to earn victory points. But the victory condition is the first nasty twist. Your final score is the lower of your 2 totals. If you score 40 points in beer but only 5 in bread, your final score is 5.
Which forces you to balance perfectly, but the real cruelty is in the interaction. Since we're drafting cards in the fruitful years, I can see exactly what you need. If I see you're desperate for a bread scoring card, I can hate draft it, take it, just to deny you, even if it does nothing for me.
And then there's the offer phase. This is the rule that causes the most quiet resentment. If you harvest more resources than your storage can hold, you must offer the excess to your opponent.
I loved that rule when I was the one getting the free stuff.
I hated it. I remember one specific turn where I played a card to get water for my brewery. The card gave me 3 water, but I only had room for 2. I had to hand you the 3rd water token. You took it, smiled, and immediately used it to complete a high-scoring beer card I'd been trying to block for 20 minutes.
It wasn't just blocking. I had been starving for water the entire round. You literally handed me the win because the rules forced you to. That mechanic creates a unique kind of pain. You aren't just outplayed, you're forced to be complicit in your own defeat.
And because the scoring is so tight, every single resource matters. We had games that ended with scores like 23-24. Knowing that I lost because I gave you 1 wheat token 3 rounds ago, that sticks with you.
It's passive-aggressive warfare disguised as a bakery. But at least in Beer and Bread, the conflict feels indirect. Number 5 removes the politeness entirely.
Number 5 is Mindbug.
Mindbug is a creature battler stripped down to its absolute meanest parts. There's no mana, no building up resources. On your turn, you just play a card from your hand. These cards are weird monsters, like a Kangasaurus or a Snail Hydra, with power numbers and special abilities. You attack, I block, highest number wins.
The victory condition is to reduce the opponent's life from 3 to 0. But the mechanic that defines the game and threatens the relationship is the Mindbug itself. Each of us starts with 2 Mindbug cards.
At any point, when you play a creature, I can slap down a Mindbug and steal it. Immediately, it becomes mine, as if I had played it.
That sounds fun until it happens to you. The first time we played, I had this incredible hunter creature that could wipe out your board. I was so proud of it. I played it, and you didn't even blink. You just said, mine, played your Mindbug, and took it.
The look on your face was priceless. You went from triumphant to devastated in 1 second. And because I stole it, I got to use its ability to destroy your other creatures.
It felt like theft, real actual theft. And the psychological game it creates is exhausting. I spent half the game terrified to play my best cards because I knew you were sitting on a Mindbug.
We call that Mindbug paralysis. I remember one game where I had no Mindbugs left, but I bluffed like I did. I kept touching my cards, smiling, asking, "Are you sure that's the one you want to play?"
You held back your strongest monster for 3 turns, fearing a theft that wasn't coming.
By the time I realized you were bluffing, you'd already chipped away at my health. That level of deception feels great when you pull it off, but being on the receiving end feels like you've been tricked by the person you trust the most.
The other brutal part is the randomness. Since the decks are small and shuffled, sometimes you just don't draw the answers. There was that game where you drew 3 weak creatures in a row, and I just steamrolled you. You got visibly frustrated because there was no strategic way out.
Yeah, it felt like the game decided I was going to lose, and you were just the executioner. Mindbug is fantastic if you can laugh about getting robbed. If you're the type of person who gets attached to your plans, this game will hurt your feelings.
Number 4 is where things go from mean to destructive. Number 4, Radlands.
Radlands is a post-apocalyptic dueling game. We each have 3 camps on the board. The victory condition is simple: destroy all 3 of your opponent's camps.
The mechanics are super tight. You have a resource called water, usually just 3 per turn. You spend water to play people, who defend your camps, or events, which take time to trigger but do massive damage.
The defining feeling of Radlands is scarcity. You never have enough water, you never have enough cards, and the game is constantly asking you to sacrifice things. You can junk cards, discard them for free to get a small, immediate effect.
It turns into a race to dismantle the other person's life. I remember a game where I had built this perfect defensive line. I had a repair bot healing my camps and a guard protecting them. I felt safe.
And then I played the Raiders event.
The Raiders event. It triggers after 2 turns and forces me to damage my own camps if I don't have defenders. But you combined it with a sniper that killed my defenders right before the raid hit.
It was a beautiful combo. I wiped your entire board in 1 round.
It felt violent, not physically, obviously, but emotionally. I watched 10 minutes of planning evaporate. And in Radlands, once you start losing, it's a slippery slope. Losing camps often means losing abilities, which makes it harder to fight back.
That death spiral is tough for couples. There's a point in the game where one person knows they've won and the other person is just struggling to survive for 2 more turns. It can get really quiet at the table.
We had an argument during one game about the restore mechanic. I thought I could restore a destroyed camp to bring it back. You insisted that once it's destroyed, it's gone forever.
I was right.
You were right, but the way you proved it, by pulling out the rulebook and reading it out loud while my camp lay in ruins, felt like rubbing salt in the wound. Radlands is amazing, but it's a game of tearing things down. You have to be okay with destruction.
Moving on to number 3, we have a game that swaps destruction for paranoia.
Number 3, Watergate.
This is a historical game about the Nixon scandal. But don't let the theme bore you. It is a tense tug of war. One player is the Nixon administration, trying to survive until the end of the game. The other is the editor of the Washington Post, trying to connect 2 informants to the president.
The victory conditions are totally different. Nixon wins by collecting 5 momentum tokens. The editor wins by placing evidence on the board to create a path from witnesses to Nixon's picture in the center.
The core mechanic is this bag of evidence tokens. Nixon draws them, looks at them, and puts them face down. Nixon knows exactly what color evidence is coming out. The editor has no idea.
That hidden information is the relationship killer. As the editor, I'm constantly asking, what do you know that I don't? I remember a game where I desperately needed blue evidence to finish my chain. You kept playing cards to move tokens, and I had to guess which one was blue.
I knew you needed blue. I also knew I hadn't drawn any blue tokens, so I watched you burn your best cards trying to secure a token that turned out to be green.
And the look on your face when I flipped that token, it was pure smugness. You let me waste my entire turn chasing a phantom.
That's the game. Nixon's job is to stonewall and distract. But I admit, it feels personal. The cards are designed to be mean. There are conspirator cards that literally block the editor's path permanently.
There was a moment where I had a clear line to victory. I just needed to place one more pin. You played a card that let you remove a pin I had placed 3 turns ago. It didn't just stop me, it undid my progress.
You got so quiet.
I was calculating whether it was worth finishing the game or just walking away. Watergate feels like a wrestling match where one person is blindfolded. The Nixon player feels powerful and slippery. The editor feels paranoid and aggressive.
We also found that the initiative mechanic causes fights. Whoever has initiative plays 5 cards, the other plays 4. fighting for that fifth card is crucial. I remember us arguing over who had correctly counted the initiative track.
I think that moved 2 spaces, not 3. No, it was 3. We were fact-checking each other's math because the stakes felt so high. Watergate is brilliant, but it creates an atmosphere of distrust that lingers after the box is closed.
Number 2 takes that distrust and adds a layer of cold, hard calculation.
Number 2, War Chest.
War Chest is an abstract strategy game. We have a bag of poker chips where each chip represents a military unit, archers, cavalry, pikes, and the victory condition is to control 6 locations on the board.
The mechanic that drives us crazy is the bag building. You have to recruit units into your bag, then draw 3 chips blindly each turn. If you want to move your cavalry, you have to draw a cavalry chip. If you don't draw it, your unit sits there frozen.
This creates moments of pure probability rage. I remember a game where I had set up a perfect flank. I had my cavalry ready to capture your point. All I needed was to draw one of my 2 cavalry chips. I had a 66% chance.
And you drew 3 scouts.
I drew 3 useless scouts. I sat there, unable to move, while your pikes unit slowly walked over and killed my cavalry. It wasn't that you outsmarted me, it was that my bag betrayed me.
But for my side, it felt like justice. I had spent the whole game keeping my bag thin so I would draw what I needed. But here's where it gets mean for couples: the counting.
Oh God, the counting.
Since discard piles are open information, you can technically track exactly what is left in your opponent's bag. I have a habit of doing this out loud. Well, you've played 2 archers and 1 is dead, so you have exactly 0 archers in your bag. You can't shoot me.
It is infuriating. It feels like you are solving me. It turns the game from a battle into a math problem where I am the variable you are eliminating.
We had a big discussion after one game where you told me, "Stop telling me what I can't do." You wanted the hope of the draw. I was crushing it with statistics.
The control mechanic is also brutal. When you take a location, you put your control marker on it. If I attack you and wipe out your unit, the marker stays. But if I then move onto it, I replace your marker with mine.
The swing of losing a point and giving it to your opponent is a 2-point shift in a race to 6. It's huge. We had a game that ended because you pulled a sneak attack on my backline base. I hadn't defended it because I thought you couldn't reach it.
I used a light cavalry chip to move 2 spaces instead of 1. You looked at the board, looked at the rulebook to confirm I could do that, and then just sighed the deepest sigh I have ever heard.
War Chest feels like chess, but with hidden information and luck. When you lose, you feel stupid for not predicting the move or angry that the chips didn't come up. Both are bad feelings to have about your spouse.
And finally, the undisputed champion of relationship stress tests, the game we literally retired from our collection.
Number 1, Fog of Love.
Fog of Love is barely a board game. It's a role-playing simulation. We create 2 characters who fall in love. The victory condition is to fulfill your destiny by achieving specific personality traits and keeping your satisfaction score high.
The mechanic is simple. We play through scenes. A card comes up presenting a dilemma, like we get invited to a party we don't want to go to, or one of us gets a job offer in another city. We both choose A, B, C, or D secretly, then reveal. If we match, we usually gain satisfaction. If we mismatch, the relationship suffers.
The problem is the trait goals. At the start, we secretly pick 3 traits we want our character to be. Things like honest, gentle, or manipulative, selfish, and unfaithful.
In our infamous Game Over session, you had picked selfish and dominant. I didn't know this. I had picked trusting.
The game forces you to role-play those traits to win. So when a card came up asking if we should adopt a dog, I chose the option that said, "No, it's too much work and I don't want to share your attention."
It wasn't just that you said no, it was that the game rewarded you for being mean. You moved your token up the selfish track and smiled because you were winning.
But I was winning. That's the objective.
I know. But sitting across from my actual partner, watching them actively choose to be a jerk to our fictional relationship, it bled through. It started to feel like a commentary on us. Is this what you really think? Would you really prioritize your career over our happiness? There was a scene where my character cheated. The card gave me a choice: to confess and apologize, or hide it and keep the satisfaction points. My deceptive goal required me to hide it, so I did.
When you revealed that choice, I felt a legitimate pang of hurt. It was irrational. It's a game. But seeing you calculate that lying was the optimal strategy, it was gross.
The finale was the worst. We reached the end and we had to choose our final destiny. I realized to win, I had to break up with you. My character's happiness was high enough, but only if I left the relationship.
So, you broke up with me in the game.
I broke up with you. I won the game. You lost.
We sat in silence for a solid 5 minutes. It wasn't a good game silence, it was a do we need to talk silence. Fog of Love forces you to operationalize selfishness. It gamifies betrayal.
And the designer knows this. The rulebook even suggests that maybe you shouldn't play with your real-life partner if your relationship is rocky. We thought we were solid. Fog of Love proved we were fragile.
We haven't played it since. It sits on the shelf like a cursed object.
So, that's our list. 6 games that are mechanically brilliant, but emotionally dangerous.
If you want to test your relationship, go buy Beer and Bread or Mindbug. They're safe enough. If you want a fight, play Radlands or Watergate.
And if you want to know if you should get a divorce, play Fog of Love.
But don't say we didn't warn you. Thanks for listening to our therapy session.
See you next time, assuming we survive the next game night.